And how many of you like Miss Crawley in the movie? He is also the Miss Crawley.
I don't think you knew that, but yes, I am.
You are, right?
Yes, I am, yeah.
You cast yourself in the
Well, I didn't mean to. What happened was, when you're making animated films, I'm sure many of you know this already, then you start by making it with animated storyboards, before you get into the expensive work of animation, and before you get the actors in. And so we would often use our own voices, people in the office, and I would do a lot of them myself because I'd be writing it, and then I'd have a little recording thing next to my desk, and I would record the dialogue for a lot of the characters. And Miss Crawley was one of them, and I just loved doing that voice, so I just carried on doing it.
I think she should have. I think your next one should be the Miss Crawley movie.
Just spin-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can't do with her. She's a very handy lizard. Yes, very good.
She's great here. You did great stuff. Getting that cast back and putting it all. Getting the troupe back together and putting the show on again. And this really is, hey, let's do a showtime for this, and for a different kind of theme running through this film than even in the first one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first one, I don't know if you've seen it, but it ends with they're all doing a performance on a partial stage. It's barely held together with bits of string, and the only props I think is like a piano at one point, some cardboard set, sort of that's about it. And then this one, it's sort of like fire and extras and wire work and spaceships, and just, I love the idea of taking that group from that first film and putting them in the big leagues, in every respect. So not just in terms of the spectacle, but the drama that goes with trying to reach that high.
Yeah. Well, now Sing was your first venture into animation.
Yes.
I mean, you've done live action movies and all kinds of things like that. You jumped into this. At the time you did that movie, it was a huge success. Did you say, okay, the studio come and say, all right, start working on the next one? Or were you sort of done with it? Or, wanted to move on? What was your...
Well, we'd actually started talking about an idea for Sing 2 at least a year before the first one was finished. Well, we were just, because you sit around, you have coffee, and you'd say, oh, it'd be funny if this happened, or they went there. Yeah. And because I'd only made one animated film, part of me just wanted to have another go as well, because I'd only just learned this whole new set of tricks and techniques, and but also those characters felt like they could just go to another level. And so it was a sort of a fun chat to begin with, and then it snowballed into this quite quickly, actually, yeah.
Yeah. How did you put the originals together here, Matthew McConaughey and Scarlett Johansson and that whole cast, and now they've all come back, and you certainly added some very cool new people like Bono and Halsey and Pharrell, and I mean, wow.
Yeah, I know, that's amazing, isn't it? Even hearing you say that just now, I'm just thinking, yes. I still can't quite believe it, to be honest. The first film, it was lovely for the cast that were in the first film. When they saw it, they liked it. They were really happy to be in it, because of course they're just trusting me. The first time around, they're like, oh, it seems like he knows what he's doing. I know I'm a porcupine or something. And then it comes out, they're like, oh, okay, it's great, and it worked out great. And so they all were. It was lovely getting back together with the cast. It was a really enthusiastic feeling in all of those sessions. That may sound a little saccharine, and I know some people might not believe that, but it really was great fun doing that, reconnecting with the cast from the first film. But then people like Bono, I hadn't worked with before, obviously, and but he'd also liked the first film, it turned out. And when we'd sent a proposal for the character and the story and and some designs, he immediately clicked with it. We had a very long conversation on the telephone. He was out here somewhere in Los Angeles at a hotel, just wandering around outside the hotel. And we had a nice, lovely, enthusiastic chat about music and what it means and what it would mean to a character like this. And he was an incredibly enthusiastic partner. It wasn't just turning up, saying a line and going. It was really, he wanted to do the best he could. He even insisted on trying to do it first.
Really?
Nobody insists on an audition, do they?
Bono.
Yeah, he was like, no, let me just make sure I can do the thing that you want to do. He's been so gracious and generous in every respect. I cannot speak highly enough of him.
And you have 3 songs from you two, and then the song at the very end is an original song that he wrote.
Exactly, and in that initial chat where he's walking around here somewhere with his glasses on or whatever, he said at the end of the call, I think there's a song in this. I think there's, it'll be a great song. It's about, singing and being saved by music. But I honestly thought he meant like, and I've said this before, when you bump into somebody and you go, oh, we should meet for dinner. We must meet for dinner. And you go, yes. Right. And then you go away and you never meet for dinner because life catches up. It wasn't that you were lying, but in that moment it sounded good, but outside that moment, it didn't. So there was no word of it. It wasn't in a contract or anything. And a few months later we met to actually record his first few lines. And he did it, and he was great. And he said at the end of it, I'm glad you're like, oh, by the way, I wrote that song. And he had it on his phone and he just played it. Wow. Yeah, and I was thinking for a minute, I was like, oh no, what if I hate it? What am I going to do with my face? I'm going to arrange my features to it. But it was one of those things where, 20 seconds in, well, that's perfect. And then by the end of it, I think, well, that is amazing. And he played it again later on a great big sound system, and I found it quite overwhelming, to be honest with you. I find a lot of this work very emotional when we're making it, but when somebody hands you a song like that, A, I loved, and B, is just, here's the end of the film. It's sort of, that never happens, and it was really overwhelming and lovely.
It is, and it's right in with the theme of your song, Saved My Life. It's a great, I just listened to it again in the back. We were sitting in the back. At the end there, listening, boy, I think it's an Academy Award. He'll be singing it there.
I certainly hope so. I think he deserves to.
I think so. And Halsey's great too. Great character. Amazing. I love that character.
Yeah, I love that character, and I love how quickly Halsey knew how to do it. She's so instinctive and fast and on the button, and it doesn't seem to be anything that Halsey can't do. I mean, right. She can paint beautiful paintings or sing and act and everything. And again, another enthusiastic cast member who just threw themselves in there. And they're not exactly, small parts. They're not like, you don't just turn up and say a line and go away again. She has to do Girl on Fire, which is a fairly intimidating song. But, just knew to just embrace it and jump in. Yeah, couldn't ask for more, really.
How much of this do you feel like you're making a big musical, and it is just like doing a musical? You have a choreographer, You have all of this, even though it's animated. Do you take that approach in doing this?
Yes, although we don't use any motion capture or anything like that, we did have a choreographer on this movie because there's a lot more dancing than there was in the first film. Sorry, I'm not looking over here enough. I'm going to try and bring him out. Yes, there's an amazing choreographer called Sherry Silver. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's brilliant. And she did This Is America, for instance, an amazing video.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and go home tonight. If you haven't seen Sherry Silver's videos, watch her dance videos. They're the most infectious. You will be just grinning from ear to ear. She's brilliant, and she has that energy and infectious quality that we wanted for the character of Nushi, and that would infect then Johnny's performance. We worked with her on all those dance sequences, and obviously we have Harvey Mason Jr. producing all the music, and
how do you get these? So I have it actually in this talk. I pulled it out of the press notes, but it's so much music, and it looks like it would cost millions and millions of dollars to get in here. But how do you choose the songs here, and all these great songs?
It all starts in the script because they all have to serve a purpose. So and we'll have lots of playlists and things we like and things we're enjoying and things that could be good, but it's not until you write the story you go, okay, well, I really need something that does this, and often I'll write in a song idea that's like a sort of flag in the ground, happy to beat it or change it, but something like this. And sometimes those flags stay, like I remember writing in Goodbye Yellow Brick Road at the beginning, and that just couldn't be beaten. It was like, yeah, that's how that feels for him right now. And but very often you'll have an idea in the story, and sometimes you'll go into those animatic modes, sort of trying things out. And songs you thought you were 100% sure would be fabulous don't quite work for some reason. It's amazing how often that happens. And then you start digging around and finding other alternatives, and then you start to find the surprises. But always it has to serve the story. And although popularity is something we take into consideration, it's not the thing to chase, because of course 2 years from now that thing won't be popular, and so it just has to be great. We have to love it, and it has to work in the story. Then it'll continue to work. Yeah.
And this movie is being released by Universal 3 days before Christmas, I think. It's a great gift, I think, to the world right now, at this time, to have this kind of movie out there. The whole family, and it's not, adults are not going to be dragged by their kids. There's so much in here for everybody, I think. But I think now's the time, after this whole almost 2 years that we've been through here. This is a perfect kind of thing.
Well, that's the highest compliment I could get, because it's supposed to, that's the same ambition as Bust a Moon, is to just provide something of joy and wonder, and to sweep everybody up. That's been the goal from the start, and so yes, I hope it does that for audiences. I really do.
Well, did you all like it?
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
All right. Let's see, wow, we have a lot of kids here too, and boy, somebody's like waving their hand in the back. Do you have a question, or are you just like waving your hand? Oh, okay. Does anybody have a question here for Garth? And yes, I see, I knew you would, right there, okay.
What made you make us sing too? Make a sequel?
Well, I just love the characters so much, and everyone, Miss Crawley, and the possibilities of having another adventure with them. Also, like I was saying before, I'd only made one animated film, and I'd loved the process, and I just wanted at least one more go to sort of take. It's like I was saying to someone the other day, it's like taking your driving test, the first film, and the second film I get to take the car out for a spin.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I get to go full, especially Miss Crawley, she takes a sports car.